Guns, I has it. Hello everyone, Paul Crummer here, and this is a Barrett 82A1. I bought this new in June of 1990, and I have used it for 50 caliber Shooter Association 1,000 yard matches. And I'm going to describe a little bit about this particular 82A1. It is a early version, being in the late 80s, early 90s. There are a couple features that distinguish it from modern versions, but it's pretty much the same rifle that is used today by armed forces all over the world. So yes, it is unloaded, and the bolt does not lock back on an empty chamber. So typically what people will do is that they'll just put a used round to hold the bolt open to indicate on the firing line that the rifle is safe. The round that it shoots is the 50 Browning 50 BMG round. And what makes this distinguishable from later 82A1s is this particular style of muzzle brake. And some people call it pine cone brake. It reduces felt recoil by about 40%. Now, the rifle itself weighs 32.5 pounds. Its overall length is 61 inches, and the barrel length is 33 inches. There's one other distinguishing feature of the new or the older models that I will save for the very end. Now, when I bought this rifle, I bought it with a scope. It was supposed to come with a scope containing what was called a Barrett reticle, and that is sort of like a range-finding reticle that shows windage and different distances, and that's what it looks like, the Barrett rangefinder reticle. When I got my Barrett, it didn't have that scope. It had a 12 power B nickel scope, which is a German scope. And for a 1,000 yard competition, that really wasn't very competitive for me. So I took that scope off and put it on my HK91. And I put this loopholed Mark IV, which is a fixed 16 power scope, and I boosted it to 24 power. That was done by Premier Reticles. A lot of the competitors in FCSA shooting were using Mark IV scopes, and they typically boosted it to 24 power, like you see here. So overall, I'm pretty happy with the accuracy of this rifle. I have been able to get 1 MOA groups, or 3-shot groups at 1 MOA at 1,000 yards. I'm really not that good at reading the wind, and at that distance, you really need to be able to read the wind to get really tight groups. So also, I'm not using sandbag rests or anything. I'm always shooting it either on the ground with the bipod or off a table and the bipod. So it's not the most stable, but I'm pretty happy. It's certainly more accurate than I can shoot. The newer 82A1s seem to be a few pounds lighter and a few inches shorter in the barrel. This is how my new Barrett arrived in June of 1990 in this nice Pelican case with an owner's manual, and I've carried it around from match to match for many, many years. The owner's manual is nicely detailed, has a fair number of illustrations, diagrams, photos, and instructions. Let's open it up and see what it looks like. Here we have the lower receiver with the bolt secured back there, the upper receiver with the barrel inserted inside, and 2 magazines. Let's put it together. Here is the lower receiver with the bolt locked back by the mid-lock pin, and we have the bipod legs, which I will extend. To remove the secured bolt, push down on the bolt from the top, pull the pin, and then slowly let the bolt come forward under spring pressure. This is the bolt for the 82A1, and you can get a good look at the caulking piece. The interesting thing about the bolt is that there is this lever here, which is called the accelerator lever, and what happens is that upon firing, the bolt is locked into the barrel extension, and they travel backwards under recoil under the short recoil principle. And during the recoil process, this accelerator moves forward and basically operates this accelerator rod, which helps to separate the bolt from the barrel extension. Here is the upper receiver, which I've positioned like this for convenience of assembly. And we have the barrel tucked into the receiver. These are the barrel springs and the key. And this is a buffer ring. And we get to the end of the barrel and the barrel extension, and that key will go into this slot here, and here's another buffer, and that's the actual chamber there. So let's get the barrel assembled. This is the correct position for assembly. You can see the slot and the guide that the barrel extension rides in. And here we have the two buffers that surround this block where the mid-lock pin will go. And this is where this key will go into this slot. And these are 70-pound springs that exert force on the key. The next step is to put the key in the slot. Any Barrett owner will tell you that this is the most enjoyable part of assembling the Barrett. Make sure that is completely locked into place. When inserting the upper receiver into the lower receiver, make sure that it is completely level and even upon inserting, so that there's no force that is exerted at an improper angle. This lip has to fit in there straight. After verifying that the upper receiver is mated correctly to the lower receiver at that hinge point, retract the bolt slowly, keeping the bolt pressed down with one hand, and then lower the receiver together. And then slowly let the bolt come into the barrel extension. This is what it looks like when the hinge is correct. The final step is to make sure that the mid-lock pin is inserted, and also the rear lock pin. Both pins must be inserted in the rifle before firing. This completes the assembly of the 82A1. Earlier I mentioned that there was one other difference between the early model 82A1s and newer ones, and that has to do with the magazine. So let's put some rounds in the magazine. Edge, Kettu, Haram, Nage, Ut, Hat, Hate, Njolts, Kielens, Tees, Tees and Edge. 11. These go to 11. The newer ones, I believe, just have 10 round magazines. I don't know if Barrett makes 11 or even higher capacity magazines for the military or police, but commercially, I believe it's just the 10 rounders that are available. So when we need that extra push over the cliff, you know what we do? Exactly. 11. One louder.